Welcome to Journeys with Jason George, episode 48, The Mary Ward Shipwreck. I didn't know much about this, but I was invited by Free Spirit Tours to go on this adventure and try to find this shipwreck. And being who I am, I'm always down for an adventure, so I grabbed some gear and joined along. I made sure that I brought my GoPro because if we saw this shipwreck, I hope I can swim down and see it. And it's kind of cool to get to be out on the water. And please like, subscribe, and share this video. Also, maybe think about joining my prowl. Or check out my website or other videos on my YouTube channel. But back to this shipwreck. And not knowing much about it, I needed to do a little bit of research. Unfortunately, I did the research after the fact because I didn't really know what I was getting into. And the Mary Ward was a 129-foot wooden steamer passenger boat built in Montreal in 1865. She ran aground on Mulligan's Reef Sunday, November 24th, 1872. So, I think we're about to get pretty close. It's a pretty beauty day. Not really sure what to expect though. Got a pretty good group of people. Got some people from England have flown in, and some people from work. Occasionally, adventurous kayakers paddle out to the shoal to take a look. But it's sometimes hard to find because, depending on the reports, it's 2 kilometers, 4 kilometers out. But eventually we found it thanks to Tim. But let's get a little more information about the day from a local. So what is the story behind this, that rock that we just went, or the ship that we just went for?
So in 1872, a steamer was sailing from Thornbury to Collingwood on the last ship delivery of the year, because it was a delivery ship. It was carrying goods and people. And it turned in at a light at Craigleith, where it thought was the lighthouse. And it wasn't a lighthouse, it was another house in Craigleith. And there were only so many lights in those days. So a light was a light. In those days, this was 1872. So anyway, they hit the Mulligan's Reef, which was a well-known kind of reef for fishermen and stuff. But they hit the reef, and then they stuck on the reef. And no one panicked until a storm came up. 2 people paddled to shore, and then a storm came up, and 26 people on the boat started to panic and started to paddle off. So 2 different lifeboats tried to make it to shore, one with a dog on it. 6 people and a dog perished within screaming distance of, they could hear them drowning in the storm. And then if you're stuck on a reef, you don't go off the reef. Your boat is stuck, it's fine there. So you should have stayed there. Their mistake was to try to paddle to shore instead of staying on the reef. Anyway, 6 people died. After the storm blew over 2 days later, the local fishermen came out and rescued everybody.
Oh, okay.
And the boat stayed there for over winter. It was looted by locals on horse-drawn sleds going across the ice. And
awesome.
And there was nothing really of value left after that. Just like other things like Osler Castle. You know, once it's sitting out there, people came and took it. This was 1872, so that's salvage.
Yeah.
It still is. Anything you pick up is free. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff on the internet about it. It's a famous, most famous shipwreck in this part of the bay.
And what's the shipwreck called?
Mary Ward.
Mary Ward. Cool.
1872, 120 feet long, and a steamer.
Sweet, thank you.
And 6 people died. No, thank you. It's great taking you out there.
So after learning all this information, I got really interested and I went home and I checked the internet. And I found out that after this boat was built, it was actually renamed North. And the North actually sank in 1867 near Port Lambton on the St. Clair River. And it remained on the bottom until 1868, when it was raised and taken to Wallaceburg, rebuilt and named the Mary Ward in 1870. In 1872, the ship was actually purchased for about $18,000 by 5 Owen Sound investors. And on the day when the boat ran ashore, there was actually no real fear because the night was clear and the sea was calm, and they were close enough that they could actually see the lights. So apparently the party actually resumed. But then things changed and a storm blew in. And so one boat had actually been let go, and they were in Collingwood and they were struggling and they couldn't fight against the northwest gale. And the ship then released a second boat. And the people from Collingwood were like, well, we can't do it from here. Let's attack from Thornbury on the windward side. And that's how they eventually got 3 fishing boats that were able to reach the stranded vessel. Unfortunately, the other lifeboat, it did tip, capsize in the waves, and it was actually close enough that apparently they could see and even hear some of the survivors actually die. Man, that's gotta be crazy. Let's take a moment. There was also a dog that died, but 19 people were actually rescued. By early springtime, most of that structure had actually vanished, and it was carried away by the ice and the waves. And then during late spring and summer in 1873, a series of unsuccessful attempts were made to actually salvage or raise the wreck off these shoals. But in September, all of the efforts were abandoned because the whole bottom of the Mary was now destroyed from the relentless battering of the waves. We were actually pretty lucky this day when we went out because it was actually calm and the visibility was amazing. So the Mary Ward sat on this shoal and just slowly fell apart. Right now, there's only really some boilers, some heavy planking, which is what we've been looking at, and some engine parts, and a few metal fragments sitting on the bottom. And nowadays, the fish sort of are hanging out using it. The great thing about this wreckage is that it's actually fairly shallow. Like, there are parts of it where you could actually stand and be able to have your head above water. Even some of the shorter people in our group. So you didn't actually have to do any scuba diving. The hardest part about getting to the wreckage is getting to the wreckage and kayaking and actually trying to find it. But once you're there, it is really cool. I've seen a couple other wreckages in my life, but those were in Jamaica and I had to go scuba diving to see them. This one was really cool. It didn't have much animal life. There were a couple fish here and there, but there were not as many fish as I was actually hoping. I'd hope I see some bass, some pike, and maybe a trout or a salmon. But, yeah, can't control wildlife. One of the things that was most shocking to me about this snorkel was how clear and well we could see. Some of the spots when the sun was hitting look almost tropical. You would have to think that I was in the Caribbean, not Craigleaf or Georgian Bay. Look at how beautiful it is. Wow. One reason I think that swimming is so important is so that you can do awesome things like snorkeling and scuba diving. Have you ever tried them? You honestly should give them a try because they are a lot of fun and you get to see a lot of cool things and get to see a different perspective on life. And just remember what Dory said. Just keep swimming, swimming, just keep swimming, swimming. I hope you've enjoyed the Mary Ward with me and doing a little snorkeling. Well, it's time to head back in and dry off. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe. Also, check out more about my JGP Prowl Pass and also my book. It's pretty awesome. It's in libraries. Check it out or on my website. And until next time, stay safe, have fun, and enjoy the wildlife.